they can still see me, right? I mean, the light isn't all the way on, right? This is all. This is raw footage. Wait, no, actually, the light is on. I ain't know that. But nah, we're gonna react to. Wait, no, hold on. Back again with another YouTube video. It's your boy Riot. Back again with another YouTube video. It's your boy Riot G. Today we're gonna react to the top 5 best horror movies of all time. We're gonna react to the 5 best horror movies of all time. You guys see Freddy Krueger. He's on the cover of the thumbnail. Alright. Let me take a sip of some water. Hold on. I'll be back. Give me a second. Alright, I'm back. Yeah, I'm back. So, like I said, Freddy Krueger is on the cover. He was a scary character when I was younger. I used to get nightmares from Freddy Krueger. But Freddy Krueger, I'm not scared of Freddy Krueger, because he's actually my favorite character now for scary people. So, like I said, we're going to react to the 5 best horror movies of all time. This is a late video, because I was supposed to do this yesterday, but let's start the video. The 5 best horror movies of all time. Let's react to it. That was a long introduction. That introduction was long.
My first annual Halloween special, and I'm going to talk about my 5 all-time favorite horror movies of all time. There's so many different genres to pick from, so many styles, so many franchises. It was really tough.
I'm gonna make sure I put the link of the description of the YouTuber right here. I'm gonna make sure I put the link in the bio in my description. Let's go. Let's continue the video.
For me to decide what are the 5 best, at least in my opinion, horror movies of all time. So that's what we're going to talk about this week on Midnight at the Movies. Let's do this.
I want to play a game.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back. This is Greg here, and I want to welcome you back to Midnight at the Movies. I took my top 10 and cut it in half so we wouldn't have a long video, and I wanted to first give a credit to Psycho.
I'm not familiar with this movie. I'm not familiar with this movie. So let's see what this is about.
So Psycho comes in as an honorable mention as number 6. I want to just mention it as a classic in its own right. It is, to me, the genesis of the modern horror movie. So anyway, let's get into this with number 5, Saw.
You have until 6 on the clock to do it.
Alright, I heard of Saw. Yeah, my voice, so my voice strained, so, because, I have to present, talk, and perform, but, yeah, so Saw, hold on, Saw, the character, he looks scary, the Saw character, he's, when I was younger, he was scary, but he's not scary anymore. I guess the synopsis of the movie is they're playing a game to break out of stuff, to break out of whatever they're trapped from.
The newspapers started calling him the Jigsaw Killer.
Waking up chained to a pipe in a bathroom. I mean, what would be worse than that? That is an absolute nightmare situation to be in, but that's where our protagonist, Adam, finds himself. He comes to in this really nasty bathroom that's like just covered in gook and blood, and there's this dead body in the middle.
What are you doing to them, you
And it's just, what in the world? I don't know what I would do. I'd freak out. But the tension level that is established here is just through the roof. I have to say, this just got me on the edge of my seat right from the get-go. So with him is Dr. Lawrence Gordon, who's played by Carrie Uwais, who you may remember was in The Princess Bride. Saw has some anxiety, nail-biting tension that I just can't compare with any other movies from around that time period. And it holds up just as well today. I mean, if you hadn't seen the movie, it would definitely give you, you know...
Which one's the best one? You know, I think there's like 5 of them. I don't know.
Nightmares.
Before dawn, make your choice.
With a very low budget of $1 million, James Wan, a new director at the time, pulled out something that no one had seen before, and it definitely has a Hitchcockian vibe to it. So Saw has spawned 9 sequels, including the current Saw X,
He said 9 sequels.
another X movie, which is just code for 10. So you got Jason X, Saw X, Fast X. But yeah, this movie is absolutely amazing to watch. If I was going to say, hey, you need to watch something scary tonight, this one would be it.
There's a way out of here! There's a way out!
I'm sick of it all.
We're out of time.
Do you know when Freddy A Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 3.
You know, I've got this saying. You know, there's Coke versus Pepsi. You know, you got Ford versus Chevy, and then you got Freddy versus Jason. At least in the '80s, these were the 2 big players, and it seemed like every time you turn around, there was either a Jason, you know, a Friday the 13th movie, or a Nightmare on Elm Street movie battling it out for supremacy. Heather Langenkamp returns to her role from the original film as Nancy. In this one, she's playing a therapist. She's trying to help these kids because of her prior experience with Freddy. And I really like how they brought her back. She was not in the second one. The second one's a bit of a mixed bag. It really wasn't as well received as the original, and this one definitely topped it. In fact,
The only Freddy Krueger movie I think I've seen, like, probably the last one, like the 2010 one, probably. I don't really, like, know all of them, really. I mean, what's your favorite one?
I think this one tops the first one in a lot of ways with its creativity, amazing storyline. The special effects even hold up to today's standards in a lot of ways. There are a few, you know, obvious tells that this is an older film, but I can overlook those. And if you give this one a chance, if you haven't seen it before, I would definitely say go ahead and watch it. Obviously watch the first 2 first, but yeah. A Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 3, The Dream Warriors. This is top shelf stuff here, guys. Robert Englund is Freddy, in my opinion, and you can't do this over again. You just cannot. I don't see how you could even. There's rumors out there that they want to do a remake or a reboot, which I've talked about many times before. Reboots, remakes, retcons. Sometimes.
But y'all want to see a remake of that? I mean, if it happens, it happens. We can't really stop that, but I don't know.
Sometimes they're not necessary, and in this case, they're not. Man, put this one on. It's awesome.
This is it. The prime time.
I know you're thinking, why in the world is Friday the 13th Part 6 my number 3 pick for the best horror movies of all time? Well, personally, I just think this is one of the greatest horror movies ever made. I'll tell you what I think is really creative about this movie is the really neat way they did the James Bond style intro. I thought that was just so fun. I really think this is a really fun movie to watch. So coming in behind Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning, we got Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. Now, a lot of fans had a little backlash because of the fact that Jason did not appear in Part 5 and it was a copycat killer, which to me is fine. I really didn't have a problem with that. I thought it was a good idea. But in this one, you've got the director coming in. His name is Tom McLaughlin. and he decided he wanted to do kind of an homage to the old 30s horror films, the old Universal horror films, such as movies like The Mummy and Frankenstein. So he kind of made this movie as an homage to those.
Darling, you're gonna be the death of me.
So yeah, Friday the 13th Part 6 kind of is the final part of the Tommy Jarvis saga, which his first appearance was Friday the 13th, the final chapter, which is from 1984.
Fatality.
So a few months back, I actually took a trip to Covington, Georgia. I'll go ahead and put some pictures up here behind me to show you some of the photos I took, and visited the actual lake where Friday the 13th Part 6 was filmed. I actually had a grand old time visiting this location, the cemetery and the lake, and also the police department building, so which is also actually used in the TV show.
It's interesting. I mean, like he took like a little tourist tour to go, you know, see all the where everything was filmed and made. So yeah, he said it was located in Georgia. So
that used to come out in the 80s called In the Heat of the Night. I know a lot of you guys might think it's the original. Some of you might think it's some of the earlier ones, you know, 3. The remake's pretty good. I actually like the 2009 remake, and I will eventually do a countdown of the entire series from worst to best. But in my opinion, and I'm giving away the winner now, Friday the 13th Part 6 is a blast.
What do you think? I think we're dead meat. Real dead meat.
So, what were you gonna be when you grew up?
Michael?
When Halloween came out in 1978, a low-budget, fairly cheap film to make, it changed everything. When it comes to horror movies, this is like a major game changer. And the movie would have been #1, and I'll explain why it isn't. So it's always been sort of a TV movie, you know, video watching at the house kind of film. So it really didn't have that theatrical impact that my #1 choice had. However, it is a strong runner-up for second place, and I'm honored to tell you that Halloween, to me, is the second best horror movie ever made, in my opinion. This is just strictly what I think. I absolutely love the movie.
Lonnie Edelson, that's a haunted house. He said awful stuff happened there once.
Lonnie Lamb probably won't get out of the 6th grade.
It is a bit slow-paced compared to the kind of horror movies they make these days, where it seems to be strictly about jump scares and paranormal stuff. I mean, that's fine. I like that stuff too. This one uses tension and what you don't know what's going on, which is a Hitchcock style that has been, you know, always tried and true. I believe that Halloween used it to its full potential and took what Psycho did like 18 years before and took it to another level that we're still trying to make these Halloween movies as good as this one, and they never seem to do that. There's been many copycats, including Friday the 13th. Scream is more of a meta humor version of these movies, and I love Scream. It is in the top 10, by the way. I know it's not in this list, but Scream is in the top 10. I just didn't want to make it a top 10. I like top 5s. To me, it's like, let's get down to the point. It's either the 5 best or I'll do the 5 worst. I really rather do that than drag out 10 movies onto the sequels. So I actually liked Halloween 2, the 1981 sequel to this. It picks up immediately at the end of this film, and to me that is the sequel. I know there's been a lot of other sequels and reboots, and I think that the Halloween series has got a bigger multiverse than the MCU does and the DCEU put together. With all these different, you know, retcons and reboots, Halloween has just been beat to death and has lost a lot of its impact because of that. So anyway, Halloween is my #2 pick. It's a strong choice. You know, if you're going to watch a movie on Halloween, it's going to be Halloween. I mean, everybody's seen it. I'm sure you've seen it too. Let's share this together. I'd love to hear what you think about Halloween if it's not your go-to movie anymore.
Let's see what number 1 is. Let's see. Silence of the Lambs. Okay, interesting pick. Let's see.
The only Academy Award-winning film we have here in the countdown is The Silence of the Lambs. This movie came out in 1991, and it's got Anthony Hopkins in one of the best roles he ever did. I just can't express enough just how much I love The Silence of the Lambs. This is, some people might consider, a psychological thriller is mixed with horror, and those are the best of the best. Monster movies are one thing, paranormal movies are one thing, but they all have an element of make-believe to them. But when you sprinkle in some of that psychological thriller, realistic feel, you just can't beat it. Agent Clarence Starling is on this mission to find this serial killer. So Agent Starling, in her mission to try and find this serial killer, goes and meets with Hannibal Lecter in his cell. And it's here where, he's supposed to be helping her, but he's really working into her mind in a psychological way.
It's a psychological film, he said. Okay.
But the real villain of the piece is Buffalo Bill, who's played menacingly well by Ted Levine. I absolutely love his performance. The way he, acts and treats the girl that he kidnaps and keeps in this well in the bottom of his house in the cellar is just, you cannot touch this movie with a 10-foot pole as far as just making your skin crawl. And so I want to thank you for joining me today. I know I didn't really.
Alright, that was the 5 best horror That was the 5 best horror movies of all time. Tell me what you guys want to see next in the comments down below. I got more videos coming. Stay tuned, subscribe, like, comment, and yeah, Uriah out.